Now, today's webinar is going to be really simple. It's going to be more focused on the rep's perspective of the mobile software. We're going to be covering data grid information to show you guys how it works and best practices on how to use it. We'll also be talking about Scheduler. It's been a highly requested feature, which was released not too long ago here at SalesRabbit, and it's really, really exciting to show you guys how to be able to schedule for yourself, but not only yourself, other people as well on your team. And we'll talk about some fundamentals, just some kind of, I guess, frequently asked questions, some troubleshooting stuff that Jovi's going to go over towards the end here. Now, Jovi has on her screen the most recent updates of the app, and I'm going to have her kind of read that out just so we know if you guys aren't up to date, go ahead and hop into the store and do that. But Jovi, what are the current releases?
Yeah, so just as a reminder, always want to just make sure that your Androids, if you're using Android, that's up to date. So the current Android update, so you should be on 8.2.3. We just have some general bug fixes, as well as iOS. Right now we're on 20.13 for SalesRabbit, and then again, some general bug fixes. So definitely that's something that you want to keep in mind to check, because what can happen is there may be sometimes you'll notice every once in a while, there may be a sync lag from your device over to your company's server. So that's just something 9 times out of 10, we just need to update our device or the app.
Yeah, that's a great call out. If you guys haven't already, in your internal settings on your phones, tablets, whatever you guys use, you can actually make that automated. So whenever you guys go to sleep at night, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, it'll automatically download the updates that we release. I recommend doing that. Something that I've been telling at least all the clients that I've been onboarding to do as of lately, because it's helping them a lot to stay up to date without having to do it themselves. So go ahead and do that. But we'll take a moment here while we're waiting for a couple of extra people to hop in and introduce ourselves. You guys have seen both of us before, but my name is Russ. I'm the Senior Implementation Specialist here at SalesRabbit. I've been doing it for quite some time. I think my 2-year anniversary actually just happened today, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, a couple of years.
That's 2 years. That's awesome.
Been a while. Hope for many more. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Jovi. I'm also an implementation specialist. I'm going on close to a year. And so I take care of our smaller accounts, and I specialize in our smaller accounts. So if you have ever seen me, welcome again. It's good to see you guys. But yeah, if you need any recommendations on hot sauce, I've got you covered. But yeah,
she's the hot sauce queen. I can't do too much hot sauce, but I've seen her put it away. I don't know where she puts it. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah, I have one on my desk, and
she's drinking it.
And well, I'm not drinking it, but I'm definitely using it. Yeah, people around me know that they can get the hot sauce at my desk.
Absolutely, I definitely have a couple of times. That's how I found out I'm not really good with hot sauce. But we'll go ahead and jump in here for you guys today. A little bit of a reminder, if you do happen to have any questions at any point in time, there is a Q&A section. The chat section is actually disabled, so use that Q&A. It'll ping to us and let us know if you guys happen to have any questions. So please feel free to hop in there at any point in time and then ask us any questions. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here for you guys, and then we'll go ahead and hop in to the fun stuff. As I mentioned, I'm going to be doing the demo today, if I didn't say it already, from my iOS device, which is our iPad here. So if you guys happen to have an Android, it's going to look a little bit different, but the functions are still the exact same. Now we're going to open up SalesRabbit software and just kind of dive on in. Presentation mode should be on for you guys, so hopefully you can see that little indicator that I was showing you. But we're going to go ahead and do most of what we're doing here today in the Sales Hub section. As I mentioned, it's from a rep's perspective, so this is what they're going to see on a daily basis. And the first thing that I want to go ahead and talk about, as I mentioned, is going to be DataGrid. Now, if I go ahead and zoom out here, I have some test leads that I added in for myself just to kind of make it look like you guys are going to be using it out in the field and kind of what you're going to be seeing. Now, these are regular not data grid pins. These are regular lead pins. So obviously I have canvassed these homes. That's kind of what it's supposed to show you. It's going to look a little bit different. Now, if I go ahead and zoom out and go a little bit more northern of where I am located, you'll see there's this big old green blob. This is a territory or an area that my manager has assigned to me. And you'll see that there's a bunch of these pins that pop up inside of them. So if I zoom in a little bit more, these are the leads, but then right over here, these little diamond shaped icons, these are data grid pins. Now, there are two different ways to get DataGrid pins to populate within your account. The first way is to have a territory or some type of area assigned to you like I currently do, and they'll pop up for you here. Or the second way is what's referred to as DataGrid on demand. Now, it's a little bit tougher for us to show you guys DataGrid on demand when we're here at the office, only because DataGrid on demand populates these pins wherever you guys go using the mobile software when you're inside of a residential area. So if I go ahead and jump back over to where I am located, I'll show you guys that nothing is actually popping up around me, even though it is turned on. And that's because, again, I'm not in a residential area. I'm in a business area, so it's a little bit hard to demo that. But if you guys do want to know a little bit more about that, you can reach out to my support team, or you can reach out to your CSM if you guys happen to have one, schedule a call, get it set up, and then hopefully they can kind of walk you guys through what DataGrid on demand looks like. But like I mentioned, it is going to be populating on top of your person wherever you guys go inside of a residential area, and it'll look exactly like these pins do. Now, one thing I want to quickly show you guys, when it comes to like having territories and areas assigned to you, it's a lot easier to be able to find them the way that I just did. So let's just say for this example, I just logged into SalesRabbit like I did, and I want to try and find that area, but I don't want to pinch and zoom and find it myself. I just want to quickly drive to that territory or snap me to that territory within the mobile app so I know where to go. In the top right-hand corner of your screen, there is this little trifold map icon. If you click on that, it'll bring up your map settings, and in the bottom right-hand corner of this, there's going to be a button that says Display My Areas next to a toggle. Now, if you don't happen to have a territory assigned to you, sometimes this button will not display, and if you don't have a territory and it's there and you click it, it'll actually give you an error saying, hey, you don't currently have any areas assigned to you. So just be aware that you have to have something assigned to you for it to work the way that it's intended to. But if you do happen to have a territory and you want to quickly snap to that location, you can click Display My Area, and it will jump you guys over again to that territory that you have been assigned. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into DataGrid, like I mentioned, and kind of talk about what it is, how it works. I'm going to go ahead and just click on one of these pins here at random. And you'll see it brings up information about the home as well as the homeowner. Now, at the very top, we can see their address. We can see that when their home was built, it was built between 2000 and 2004. It's worth about $450,000 to $500,000. It's about 2,000 to 2,500 square feet in total. The person who bought the home moved in about 20 plus years ago. There's currently known to be about one person occupying the property, and their credit score, or their credit range, I should say, is between 740 and 799. Now, we don't do any like hard credit checks or soft credit checks even. It's just a range of what we believe their credit score to be. So keep that in mind. Now, underneath that, we also have information about the homeowner. We can see their first name, their last name, their general age, like a range of their age, if they identify as a male or a female. Do they own the home? Are they a rental property? Are they married? What do they do for a profession? And then how much money are they bringing into their home as a combined total income? So anybody that's over the age of 18 in that home, it'll usually combine that number.
So for those that don't have DataGrid right now, this is a really useful tool to use before even reaching to that door. You know who you're going to talk to. You know if they qualify on average of, the type of customer that you're looking for. And this can be targeted to different industries. And so if you're in solar, we can set this in the back end, the settings to give us, propensity scores or buyer scores for solar customers, looking for those eligible customers, or roofing, or, we work with tons of different industries, but just wanted to call that out.
Yeah, that's a great call. And we'll talk about that little scoring system that she just mentioned right now, actually. Each of these little diamond-shaped icons, the DataGrid pins that you guys see, each has a little score on top of them. Some of them are different. Some of them are green, red, orange. And the scoring system that we have ranges anywhere from 1 all the way up to 10, with 10 being the most likely or a good qualified candidate for whatever industry that you guys set, which Jovi mentioned, based off of your settings on your SalesRabbit side. You can choose many different industries. I believe this one may be set to solar currently, but it is also not my account, so I'm not entirely sure. But you can change those scores to display in whatever industry you guys choose, and it will, kind of give them a range, and like I said, between 1 to 10 on the likelihood of that person being a good qualified candidate for that industry. Really, really helpful. Just like Jovi mentioned, when I was personally out in the field myself using this tool in the solar industry as well, I found this tool to be very, very helpful, not only because I was able to have like the homeowner information and whatnot, but I was able to tailor my pitch to them based off of what information was being displayed. So if I can see that they had a little bit more of a higher or even a lower credit score, I would change my pitch to them, maybe change the product that I would offer them to start off. And again, it just kind of helped me increase my odds or increase my chances of getting somebody to say yes to agree to an appointment or something of that nature. But yeah, that's a great call out, Jovi. Really, really cool stuff and makes your job a heck of a lot easier. Now, with this data grid information, I want to show you guys a couple of things before I jump into how to filter your data grid pins. But if I go ahead and click on one of these at random, again, you'll see that we will just use Lance Somerville for this example. Shout out to Lance. Thanks for being a part of this webinar today. But if you guys did knock on this door and you want to then convert this into a lead, it's really, really simple. You'll see underneath each individual person's card that you may talk to, there's a section that says convert to lead where you can just simply scroll to the icon that you guys want to use and then simply touch it. And again, it will convert that data grid diamond into a lead. So if I knocked on Lance's door, we spoke for a while. He is interested. However, he wants me to come back and chat with him in a couple of hours when his spouse is available to also have the conversation. I'm going to go ahead and click on GB, which stands for go back. You'll see it turns that data grid diamond into a little lead pin icon here. And if I go ahead and click on it, there's that lead that I just converted, as well as all of the information that we were able to find from data grid. If I ever need to access that information again, on the little lead pop-up on the top left-hand side, there's this little user icon. This will show you the user's info. But if I click that little D for data grid, it'll then show me all of that data grid information that we did convert previously in case I need to see it again. But if I select that pencil icon here, I can now edit this lead even further, and you'll see that it automatically gave me the user's first name, the last name. If there happens to be a phone number on file, it'll also give that to us as well. And the address is spot on, so I don't have to type anything in other than some notes. So because I mark this as a go back, I'd simply just type in here, go back, even though I don't have to because that's what the lead status is. So that's how you guys can convert data grid information. Again, really, really helpful, and it saves you a lot of time so you guys don't have to spend half of your day typing. You can just simply convert pins that has all the info that you need, move on to the next home, again, to kind of help I always want to say efficientize, but that's not a word, but it makes your day a little bit more efficient.
I like it. I like the word.
You got to make stuff up on the spot sometimes. But let's go ahead and mention the filtering section. I know Jovi spoke to it a little bit, but before I move on, are there any questions in the Q&A section that we want to go over?
So we do have a question, and it's not in relation to DataGrid, but I think it's a good call out. So we do have all of our features turned on, all of our add-ons turned on this account. So you will notice that there's some features that you don't have on your end. Like we have a question in here asking about the rain cloud icon, and that is our weather add-on. And so just a brief summary, how would you describe that, what it does?
Yeah, that's a great call out. So the weather function, and if you guys are curious, we do have a couple of demo videos or test videos about weather on our website as well as on the Help Center as well. But essentially what weather is it's SalesRabbit's version of, I don't want to call it other products, but a Hell Trace or a Hell Recon, for example. We're able to display you guys weather swath overlays. You're able to use what's also referred to as our Storm Finder feature. So if you guys don't happen to know of any storms that occurred within the last calendar year, you can search that date range and it will pull up relevant information for whatever type of storm you guys are hoping to see. So again, it's just like using any other weather platform out there, other than it's, in my opinion, a little bit sleeker and it's built into SalesRabbit, saving you guys a little bit of time. But yeah, it's just a way that you can view weather information as well as pull weather reports for properties specifically. So you can see what kind of weather event occurred on that property within the last however long you guys want to search for. I think it goes back to February of 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just a way that you guys can view weather information. That's a great question. If you guys would like to see more on that, let us know, and we're happy to do the next webinar or even the following webinar after that on weather if we happen to have topics already. But again, if you have questions about that as well, you can reach out to the support team. They are more than happy to fill you guys in and then also set up a demo with one of our sales reps to kind of walk you guys through what it looks like and how it functions. I see we have a lot of Q&As coming in, so we'll keep going down the line.
Okay. So Heather, thanks Heather. She is asking, in the same idea of having areas selected for you, I would like to be able to see multiple routes when planning for the following days in the field. Is there any way to display routes or select areas for yourself, or to display multiple routes at once? Maybe having the route highlighted with different colors.
That is actually a great question. So currently, I believe the exact thing that you're asking for, we don't necessarily have built into the platform. However, we do have a way that you can route to existing leads. To quickly demo how that works for you, I actually have some of these ones that I usually use for this testing purposes or this testing purpose, but you'll see that all of these are currently marked as like a go back, for example. As an admin or a rep even, if I click this little finger swishy icon on the left-hand side, and then I circle all the leads that I'm trying to go back to, you'll see a little button in the middle here that says route. Now, as a rep, I may not be able to see some of these other icons. It kind of depends on your guys' permissions, but route will always be there. If I click on route and then create a brand new one, it'll put all of those lead pins into a list view here for me. And I can title this route whatever I want. I can also choose my own starting and ending point. So if I want to start at my house and end up at the office or vice versa, you can do that yourself. If you happen to be sitting in your car, for example, and you want to canvass all of these homes on foot and then come back to your car, this little icon right here on the far right-hand side, if I select that, will actually pinpoint my exact location and then fill out the address for me. That way I don't have to type it in. And again, just kind of recognizes where you're standing based off of geolocation. One important thing to notate here is when you did download SalesRabbit software, it asked if we could track your location while using the app. And if you did not do it, you'll see that actually I'm not currently connected to the internet. So sometimes it won't work if you guys have an unstable connection like I do. But if you did not allow SalesRabbit to track your current location while using the software, then it has a little bit of a harder time pulling your exact location, kind of like it is right now. I did not allow that permission. But type out the addresses, or I guess type in the address yourself. And then scroll at the very, very bottom. You'll see you can optimize your route if you want to. You can make this the fastest or slowest route of your entire life. This will just rearrange the homes that you should go to in order to make it a more efficient route for you. That's kind of what that toggle does. But you can also choose to avoid ferries, highways, and tolls. Once you're ready to do it, you can simply click the big old red routed button. And then in the top right-hand corner is this little pirate treasure map is kind of what I like to call it, but it's a little map icon here. Clicking there will actually give you the view of the map if you guys have internet. Currently, I do not, which is why it's not connecting to it. But it'll show you that route and then display it here on the mobile. And like I mentioned, it'll show you which house to go to first and second and third and so on and so forth.
And just to add to that, so if you have multiple routes and you want to look at those routes, so what I would say is you're going to come over to the left here, those 2 lines and was it 3 lines? 3 lines and 2 dots, this middle icon on the top left. And what we recommend doing is, or what I recommend doing is labeling or naming different routes. I have some reps who will do a route for the morning, a route for the evening, routes for different days, or maybe, you know, during the week and then the weekend. That way you can differentiate which routes you want to use on the specific days or date ranges. But I would definitely remember to do that. And then here's your list of routes as you create them. And you can delete them if you need to, but just to add to that.
Yeah, it's a great call out. I used to call mine like tomorrow's problems or today's worries just because, you know, I'm that kind of guy. But yeah, great call out.
All right. And then, so Daniel's asking, with DataGrid, are you able to select specific users to have that feature? So not all users. So depending on the question, yes and no.
Yeah, you can take this one.
So with adding on that actual feature, so adding on DataGrid, however many users you have, so let's say you have 5 users in the system for your account that all have an active account. When you add on DataGrid, it will be added to each user, right? So you're going to be billed for each user, all those 5 users, for using DataGrid. But in your permission settings, in the settings on the web app, you can select who has access to it and who doesn't. You can even select what types of features within DataGrid do you want them to have, because there's 3 different settings for DataGrid. And that's something that if you have questions on, definitely reach out to our support team. If you don't have DataGrid, they can help you, get DataGrid with connecting you to our sales team, or if you just need help with settings, they can definitely help you on that end as well. So if you have reps that you don't want to have access to certain features of DataGrid, they can help you limit those permissions. So I hope that helps answer that question.
Great call out. Great question as well.
Okay, and then Abraham, so how do I get access to that information? So I'm assuming you're referring to DataGrid information. So that is an add-on. We will have you just reach out to our support team. And I'll just give you the number now. So 801-418-9009. So if you want to call them now, you totally can. And then we'll share that information just before we end today. But then yeah, just reach out to them and they'll connect you with sales and you can get that added on.
And if you guys missed that, the phone number will be sent to you once the webinar is over. We send out a little like the recording of the webinar, and there's going to be all the information about the support team, which you guys can access if you happen to miss it.
Okay. Yep. And then Chad, so my sales rep does not have the data grid on their screen, but I do. How do I get the data grid to show up there as well?
That's a great question. So there could be a couple of different things going on. Usually as an admin on the back end, you allow people permissions to view certain types of data grid information. Like I mentioned, data grid on demand a little bit earlier. That's actually a permission you have to turn on for your reps. Or another thing that could be going on is going to be more so focused on the filter of the data grid information. So let me go ahead and talk about that real quick here. You'll see that I can see all this little data grid information here on my screen, but if I actually have the filter for data grid off, nothing populates. So let's go ahead and talk about the filter, how to use it, best practices, and kind of some really cool stuff that it can do. In the top left-hand corner, if you guys missed where I clicked, it's this little funnel-shaped icon. If you guys are using an Android, yours is actually in the top right-hand corner and kind of looks like an upside-down pyramid. That's your filters section. But you'll see that there's a filter for data grid. For starters, make sure that this is always turned on so you guys can actually see those data grid pins popping up. Now, other than that, in the filter section, while we're here, I know that we have more questions coming in, but I'll just quickly talk about it. You guys can filter your data grid information to your liking. So you'll see that you can change it if you only want to see homes that have like a propensity score of, let's just say 5 or higher. You'll see a lot of the pins in the background disappeared here because they don't match what I'm searching for. That way I'm saving time. Me personally, I will always knock on every single door. And this might have come from the solar industry, but I was always taught that if they are everybody is an opportunity until proven not to be. So use data grid to your advantage to kind of make things a little more efficient for you. But again, I'm still hitting every door. I like money. That's just me though.
Money's good.
Money's great. Now, underneath that, you guys can also adjust for how old the home is. And this data grid information as well was just recently updated, I think like yesterday or the day before. Yeah. So
this week.
This week, yeah. So it should be up to the most relevant information as it possibly can be at this exact moment in time. But you can also sort by home value if you guys want to hit the bigger spenders, maybe larger homes because they probably have maybe a little bit of money, larger home for bigger solar systems, bigger roof projects, whatever it may be. How long they've lived in the home, how many people currently live in the home as well, their credit range if you guys want to adjust by that, age, and then household income. And keep in mind this is like a combined total income for everybody above the age of 18 in the home. So keep that in the back of your brains. But some of my personal favorite, I guess, data grid settings are actually towards the bottom of the filters section. For starters, the occupancy level. You guys can have it set to homeowner or renter, and you'll see that it only shows people who own their home or people who rent their home. So if you guys can't work with rental properties, for example, in the solar industry, when I was working there, I personally could not work with rental properties. I had to speak with the actual homeowner. So I would just have it set to homeowner, and then the pins that would be renters don't even show up on the map again. So I feel like I'm not wasting my time. Now, another really cool thing that Jovi mentioned a little bit earlier is you can filter this information based off of like an industry and occupation to show you certain scores, but you can also filter your data grid pins for the occupation of the people who actually live in the home. So it's actually kind of cool. If I click the button that says all on the right-hand side here, it'll give me an option to select what type of, I guess, industry I want to focus on that I'm trying to canvas to. So for example, if around Veterans Day, you guys want to help out the veterans and give them a little bit more of a military discount or something like that, you can select military and it'll be able to show you if we happen to have that information, if it's public or not.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Really cool. Personally, when I was out canvassing, it was during the first boom of COVID. We all hate that word, but it was a thing that we all went through. And I actually worked quite heavily with healthcare workers, and I was able to give them some sweet discounts on solar. So it helped me help them. And again, it was just a really cool thing to be able to pinpoint who I wanted to canvas to around that time. Now, other than that, I know that we have a couple of other questions. Hopefully that answered your question about your rep not being able to see it. If you are still having issues with your rep not being able to access that information, please reach out to the support team. They'll be more than happy to figure out what's going on with your guys' account and get that restored.
Yeah, great. The only thing I would add to that is just remember to actually draw their area of territory and assign it to them. and it should be highlighted in a color. So you can draw the area, but it can still be unassigned to someone. So if you want to just draw really quick an area.
We'll go to this little residential section. You want to use, there's two different ways that you can do it, but the easiest and quickest way to do it is to use this little finger icon on the far left-hand side here. And then simply draw the territory out. Because I don't have any internet, the map is having a hard time catching up, so I apologize. But use that finger icon on the left-hand side with your finger, trace out or draw the territory that you want. Once it's drawn, click anywhere inside of the territory, click the edit button, and then choose the one or multiple people that you want to assign the area to. These are all Harry Potter characters, if you guys can't tell.
Yeah.
Then save it, and then it will start to populate that data grid information if you are filtering for it. So make sure that you are. And again, make sure you have internet, which is why mine's not working. So,
but yeah, then you'll see data grid points, and your reps will too. But like Russ said, if you have issues, definitely have your reps reach out to them so that they can troubleshoot one-on-one with them. But great question. And then we have Tracy. So Lasso pops up. So question, Lasso will pop up with the leads for all SalesRabbit. So I'm guessing, can you use the Lasso tool for all the leads in SalesRabbit?
ooh, like every single lead ever? Kind of a great question. Should we test it live?
Why not?
Why not? Got about 622 leads here. You sure can.
Yeah. So there's different things that you can do here other than the route. And this isn't going to be available to everyone. This is going to be permission based. So if you don't have those certain permissions, reach out to your manager, reach out to the owner. That's going to be decided by them. But you can create an area. You can reassign these leads to someone else if you need to. So maybe, someone's going to be deactivated. You need to reassign those leads in bulk to another rep. You can do that here under ownership, or reassign these leads in bulk to another lead status, or delete these leads, which I wouldn't ever recommend deleting leads unless you know without a doubt that you don't need those leads.
Great call out. Best practice, don't delete leads.
Yeah, just don't.
Not good. I think we have one more question.
Yeah. Do we have a cold calling script?
Ooh, I don't know, do you? We don't have anything like that built into SalesRabbit, unfortunately. However, if you happen to do have a script, we can upload it into the sales material section of your guys' software. So if you want to access a script, you definitely can. It'll actually just be housed down here in the tools section of your platform. And if you guys ever want to access it, it'll be found here in sales materials. So if you do happen to have something, please go ahead and reach out to the support team and say, hey, I need some access getting this uploaded. Or if you're still going through the onboarding process, reach out to your IS member or your CSM. And again, I'll help you guys get that script uploaded for you.
And I would also add that our website is a good resource as well. There's blogs on there that our VP of sales has added some content with the help of course, our marketing team. They're great at adding in different blogs all the time, and they go over different subjects. So there could be, I know there for sure is good information on there. I've looked before. So I would definitely look on our website as well. All right. And let's see. So Katie, one last question. I've deleted my areas before when trying to delete a lassoed area. Is there a way I can get my area back without having my boss/admin reassign it?
Ooh, that's a great question. And that again kind of depends on your guys' permissions within the mobile software. So if you have the ability to generate your own territories, you'll typically be able to see areas that you have been to already, as well as ones that you currently are working in. If you cannot see them on your screen, that most likely means that you guys don't have the permissions to do it. The only way to get that back is to reach out to an admin and then hopefully have them reassign that territory to you. But if you're trustworthy, go ahead and tell your admin to just give you the power to make areas and make your own, man.
Yeah. It's sometimes easier that way.
Much easier.
Yeah.
So I appreciate all the questions, guys. I know that
good questions.
Yeah, I know that we are quickly running out of time here, and we have a couple of extra things that I want to get to today. So I'm going to kind of blaze through this last two sections of the data grid information. So I showed you guys one way to be able to generate territories. And again, that's using this little data grid, where I guess that little finger swishy icon on the far left-hand side, drawing out the territory and then having it populate the pins just like this. Now, my personal favorite way of being able to create a data grid territory is using the little data grid shaped diamond icon on the right-hand side of the screen. This is called the DataGrid overlay system, where you'll see when I click on it, it actually sections each individual, I call them subsections of each city, kind of giving me a better idea of that area overall. And best part about it is these areas are already pre-cut and predetermined. So if I want to assign one of these areas to my reps, I definitely can. And I don't have to draw anything. I just simply click a button, click another button to assign the rep to it, and I'm done. But if I go ahead and click on one of these, you guys will see it just gives you more of like an average of the information within that area. So this area of South Jordan, you guys can see that there's about 2,100 homes here, and we'll kind of quickly go through this information. So about 87% of the people who live in this area actually own their home. Most people's credit scores are around this number here. Most people's homes are worth about this much. Their homes are about this size on average. People have been in their home for about 11 years on average as well. Most of the homes construction started around 1996. 6% of people have recently moved in or out of their home. Again, within the last, I think it's like 30 to 90 days, our information updated that frequently.
30 to 60.
30 to 60, thank you.
Even sooner.
Even sooner. Then most people are averaging about 55 years of age. Each household brings in roughly about 153K a year. And there's usually about 2.9 people, so almost 3 people in total living in a home. No, that just kind of shows there's about 2 people in every home, maybe a couple of extra there. There's not two and almost a full complete person in home. That would not make sense. But if you guys want to generate a territory for somebody using this method, in the top right-hand corner of that pop-up, there's this little constellation icon or like a connect the dots icon. If you select that, it'll then draw that territory out for you if you have internet, and I fixed mine. So now we can get it working. And then to assign that territory, just like before, click anywhere inside of that gray section, click the edit button, choose one or multiple different people to assign this area to, save it, and then the area will generate for them. Now, one thing I wanted you guys to keep in mind, and I wanted to show you this here, I just assigned a couple of, I guess, this area to a couple of people. You'll see that I don't see those data grid pins popping up for me because the area has to be assigned to you as well for those pins to pop up. So keep in mind, if you are an admin assigning your reps territories and you assign your area, I guess yourself an area, but not anybody else, only you are going to be able to see those pins in that territory or area. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's a great reminder.
Absolutely. Now, the last thing I'll cover here before I jump into talking about scheduler is I want to show you guys one really cool thing that we have put into SalesRabbit. I think it was last year actually, to be able to, if you guys happen to do any type of like marketing campaigns and you want to market to, let's just say this street that I have marked for myself before I go and actively canvas it next week. One really cool thing that you guys can do is circle all those little data grid pins that you guys see popping up with that lasso tool yet again on the left-hand side. We'll just do a small section here. And you see it shows me how many of each individual, I guess, propensity score range I have. So I got about 30 in the red, 47 in the yellow, a couple of greens. But you'll see at the bottom that you have remove or convert. As an admin, you're typically going to see area, but if you're a rep, you probably won't see the area toggle. So just kind of keep that in mind. But you'll see this little button that says convert. If you guys want to convert all of these pins into a lead status that's marked as like marketed to or mailers or something, that way you can quickly convert all of these at once to one lead status. Then with using data grid information, you get their address, you can then market to them. It's really, really simple, and you can convert them in a mass. So you guys can market to hundreds of people at a time if you want to. But if you click convert, it does have you select what pin you want to mark them as. I'll just use other for this example. Let's pretend it says mailer. And then I'll simply click convert and then on continue. Now it'll take all those data grid pins, convert them into other leads or mailer leads. And now that we have converted them, we actually have this information on the back end of SalesRabbit. So again, we can take this information. If you guys remember last month's webinar, we actually showed you guys how to pull the data out of SalesRabbit. If you don't remember it, it sucks. No, I'm just kidding. Reach out to the support team. They'll send you guys a link to it. You can watch the recording. But that's a really, really powerful tool to be able to market to people before you actually go out and actively canvas to them. So again, last little helpful tip that I will give there pertaining to data grid. Now, let's go ahead and talk about probably one of the more anticipated features asked for from SalesRabbit for quite some time now, and it's our scheduler feature. We want the ability as a rep, or let's just say, for my example, I am a canvasser or a setter for your company, and I want the ability to go out and obviously canvas to homes. And when I actually get somebody who is interested, I want to schedule an appointment right there on the spot for either myself, if I am, one of your closers, or if I'm a setter for somebody else within your business or within your company. Now, if I go to the home page here within SalesRabbit, in the top left-hand corner for iOS users, there's a little settings cogwheel. And you guys are going to see that underneath the lead appointment calendar, I currently have my calendar connected to it. It's really simple to connect your calendar to the scheduler platform. And one thing that I want to announce, if anyone's going to start making questions about it, is Scheduler actually comes with the Pro plan. No other add-ons needed or necessary other than the Pro plan. So if you guys are currently on the team plan, but you think this might be beneficial for you after you see what I can do, reach out to the support team and talk about upgrading to the Pro plan, because that's all that's required to use it. But once you guys connect a calendar into the account, it's very, very simple. There's going to be a little button that just says add calendar. You then sign into that calendar. And one thing to notate to you that's very, very important is it's going to prompt you to authenticate that calendar before you can actually use it. So if you guys try to connect it, but then you don't authenticate it, it'll actually send you like a little pop-up on your phone typically that just says allow SalesRabbit to connect to this calendar via Google. You'll just say yes, and it will allow it. But again, if you do not authenticate it, you cannot use it, nor can you schedule for other people. So please keep that in mind. But once it is connected, if I jump into the Sales Hub section and I want to use one of these test leads that I have here for myself, we'll just simply use Claude Brett. To schedule an appointment, you just want to simply select that pencil icon to edit that lead even further. And hopefully you guys have seen this page before if you guys have been using SalesRabbit for a long time. But now at the bottom, there's going to be a section that says set appointment, like there always has been, but now it has a couple of additional things built into it. If I click select appointment, you're going to see it gives me a little pop-up to say, do you want to schedule for yourself or somebody else? And with my calendar connected, if I just choose to schedule for myself, it will show you my availability based off of what I have on my calendar. Again, it's pulling this in real time. So you can actually see that I can't schedule for any times other than, as I say, Thursday and Friday. I'm actually at a disc golf tournament because I'm kind of a nerd. So no times available for me there. But at the top right-hand corner, we're currently on the week view. If you guys want to switch it to the month view, if somebody wants to book like 2 to 3 weeks out, you can simply select that date and time here, and then it will show you your current availability. And I should have a lot here because that's 2 weeks. Yeah, I was going to say, I should have plenty of times there. Now, if you want to schedule for other people, once they have connected their calendar, you'll be able to see that we have a lot of information about all of these individuals that we can schedule for. And if you want to see multiple people's availabilities all at once, just simply select who you want to see. So if I want to see let's just say Harry, Hermione, and then we'll go to Ron, just the 3 amigos, and I want to see what their calendar looks like. If I click view, I can then choose whose calendar I want to predominantly view if I want, or if I want to see one person's more than the other, but if I don't have anybody selected, it'll just kind of show me a combined total of who is available and who is not. So really, really simple and really, really helpful when you guys want to book that appointment. Just simply select the time that you want, choose the person that it should be selected for. So again, if you have multiple people selected, it's going to show you who is available, and then make sure that you select who you want it to go to based off of that. If you have a favorite closer, for example, just choose your favorite, but then in the top right-hand corner, you want to click on schedule. And then it's going to give this really nice appointment confirmed confirmation page, which basically says, this is when it was scheduled for. A lot of guys in the field that I have been onboarding at least have been taking a screenshot of this and then just sending it straight to the client from the device. Can be helpful, but again, they will also, depending on your guys' Google settings, if you happen to have your settings turned on to send them an automated message about times that are scheduled, if you happen to have their email as well included, it'll send them a reminder. So a couple of really cool things that you guys can do here, but you now have the power to schedule for other people. And like I said, it's just built straight into the platform. No integrations needed other than connecting your calendar. So it's really, really simple. Now, I know we had a question come through. Is it pertaining to Scheduler or was it referring to DataGrid?
Yeah, it's not Scheduler, but just to call out, so you can connect your email, whether it's Google or Outlook. So
Correct.
Just calling that out, but let's get to that question. So Mia, if we assign an area to one of our reps, is there a way to make sure they only see their leads in the area that is assigned, or will they always see all of the leads?
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah. So that's going to be permission based. So you're going to go onto the web app and you're going to go into your settings. On the right-hand side, there's roles and permissions. In that section, you're going to go to the role that you're wanting to limit that permission from. So if it's a rep, you're going to go to the rep role. and then you're going to turn off view leads if that is turned on. So if it's not, then you already know that they can't see anyone else's leads. They can only see their own. So that's what I'm assuming you're asking for, and hopefully that answers your question. But if you need help with that, or you just need the step-by-step process again, you can go onto our help center to get that information, or just call our support team. They're great. They're going to help you.
Absolutely. And if you guys don't know what our, I guess, website is for the Help Center, it's just help.salesrabbit.com, and it'll route you to the correct Help Center page.
Yeah, thanks for that question, though.
Yeah, it's a great question. Now, as I mentioned, Scheduler has been a highly anticipated and requested feature, and we are super duper excited to show it to you guys. One thing that I do want to call out here is you may have seen it happen and I didn't talk to it, but I want to do that really quickly. As a rep, this lead actually belongs to me because I canvassed to it. You'll see that the lead is owned by myself. But the second that I schedule an appointment for another individual here, we'll just use Ginny Weasley. And we'll just choose maybe Saturday because I don't want to mess up other people's calendars if these are real people. Ginny's real, guys. Come on, we all know she is. But we'll schedule that. You'll see that that lead automatically updates to be owned by Ginny now, so she can actually see it on her end and it no longer belongs to me. But if you're worried about being able to get credit for anything like that on your guys' side, like, well, obviously I canvassed that lead, I still want credit for it. At the very, very top of the lead, there's going to be an activities section where you guys are going to be able to see who the initial owner of the lead was. And because it takes a couple of seconds to sync after the change has been made, you'll see that Ginny's name is no longer, I guess, nowhere to be found here. But if I back out of the lead and then I hopefully try to find the one that I just had, I think this is it. Nope, it's not going to be here. You know why?
Yeah.
Because it belongs to Ginny. Unless you guys have your filters turned on to show shared leads. And again, that's something that we can talk about a little bit later. You might even be able to cover it in the fundamentals today before the end of the webinar, if needs be. But the lead will automatically update to the person that you scheduled for so they can see it on their end and then continue throughout their day. It's really, really helpful and super duper nice. But other than that, that is everything that I wanted to cover when it came to DataGrid as well as Scheduler. If you guys happen to have any questions pertaining to either of those things, as we've mentioned a few times already, go ahead and reach out to the support team or your CSM, or if you're still going through onboarding, reach out to your implementation specialist. All people will be happy to answer any questions that you guys have pertaining to that. And before I turn the time over to Jovi, I know that we had a couple of extra questions come through.
Yeah, no problem, Mia. You are welcome. And so you mentioned, she's also asking, you mentioned something about connecting an email to send reminders. How would we do that?
Ooh, that's a great question. And it is, if you guys are using Google, I'm not necessarily an Outlook pro, but if you use Google Calendar, there are internal settings that you can turn on that will automatically, if you happen to have like the user's email included on an invite, it'll send them a trigger to add it to their calendar and then also get like a reminder about it. Again, those are more Google settings. And if you guys want to look into that, you can either type it into Google and just search it up like I do myself. Or if you happen to have like an IT team, make them do that. That's what they're paid for. So yeah, they're just Google settings.
And then Katie, so she's asking, can you guys change the note section so when we take new notes, it shows up with a date and timestamp? That's a great.
That is a great
feature
question.
request.
Feature request, and maybe one day it'll be in there, maybe it won't. I'm not entirely sure. That's kind of up to our product team, but that is a great request that we will absolutely put in for you guys after the webinar today.
Yeah, so we'll submit that. Yeah, you're welcome, Katie. No problem. And that's our questions for now. So if we want to jump over to, we're going to go over just some of the fundamentals. So just refresher for you guys, or maybe this may be new if you're still onboarding. But some of the things that we like to go over is filters and then lead statuses. So we're going to go into our settings and okay. So let's go into our settings on the home page. And then one thing that we're going to show is proximity indicator. So if you are wanting to see how close, how far away are your reps in an area or, when they create leads, are they in the actual area that they're creating those leads, or are they at Starbucks, or, wherever it may be. This is a good way for reps as well, just to make sure that you do have those verified leads. Best practice is to, when you're creating leads and you're knocking on doors, to mark those homes as you're knocking on those doors. Instead of waiting like later in the day, you may forget things to notate. So anyway, let's get back to this. So we're going to go to settings. We're going to turn on proximity indicator, that filter. We're going to go to done, then down to Sales Hub. Let's go back to the map. And so you may have noticed this already. So some of these leads, like these leads, this chunk of leads that Ross created earlier, the other leads, there's this red X on top of those. So that red X is indicating that he was not in the area when he created these leads. So I'm going to tap on one of these leads. I'm going to go to see activity. Let's do it again. See activity. And then you see those red X guys again. So we're going to tap on that. And then down here is Russ's location. And this is where the lead was created, all the way up here. So he wasn't in the area. You're going to see that red X when you're outside of 100 meters of the area. It'll give you that red X. Then you'll have other icons. Down here, you have this gray question mark. That is indicating either your location was turned off and it couldn't determine your location, or these are imported leads. So they weren't created organically within the app. But as you update those leads, you're going to see that icon change. So I've updated this a bit, and now you see it's a red X instead of that gray question mark. So still, I'm not in the area, but let's actually go to our area and create a couple more leads near us. So I'm going to go to my map icon. I'm going to go down to the left and tap on that arrow, and it's going to redirect me on the map to my exact location. So we're near buildings. We don't have any homes around us, but that's okay. We're just going to create some test leads. So I'm going to go up to the top right and click on that pin icon. Let's just do a not interested. And let's do one more just right on top of us. So now there's two leads here. One of them, my go back, has a green check mark, and this is indicating I am within 50 meters of this area when I create this lead. The one above that not interested, the red X, it has two double yellow arcs, and that's indicating that I'm within 50 to 100 meters of that area when I created this lead. So this is just another helpful tool to see, where's everyone at out on the field. If you want to be able to see this, again, go back to your home page, go back to your settings up at the top left, and turn on that proximity indicator. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I was going to say one great call up that you had a little bit earlier was saying, as a rep, if you guys have this turned on, you can see that check mark and you know that lead is verified. You are proving to your admins that you are out doing your job. And a lot of reps, at least from my experience when I was out in the field, some of my admins wouldn't believe me. And so now I can actually prove it to them. Look, these are all verified leads. I was doing my job. I promise I knock a billion doors a day. I'm that good. Like, please, if you are a rep, turn that on. It makes it really helpful for you guys to know when you see that green check mark if it's verified or not. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I should have muted that. My bad.
It's okay. It's a nice ringtone.
Yeah, a nice standard iOS ringtone. But again, if you are a rep, it is really helpful to have that turned on so you guys can see the little check mark and you know yourself that the lead is verified and you have done your job well. So it's a great call out.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Russ. So let's go back. We're going to just go back into Sales Hub. So we're going to go over all our filters, and this is going to be really helpful. This is something that I do like to focus on when I get to work with all the companies that I have come in, because this is going to just make your life easier. So we're going to go up to the top left, this little funnel icon, or it looks like a flashlight, I've had some people say. So this is going to bring up your filters. So this first one is your own leads filter. Then you have shared leads, so everyone else's leads, DataGrid, customers, areas, and then user location. You may or may not see all of these depending on your permissions that you have or your role. And so all of you will have your own leads filter. So let's go there. If you just tap on the word leads or that gray arrow, it's going to bring up these filtering options. So you can filter out your own leads by date created over here on the right. If you tap on that, it's going to bring up your other options. So by date created, last updated appointment date, or you can choose a specific date range. So maybe I want to see leads from the 15th of January over to today. And then you also have this quick date option. Right now it's set to custom, but you have these different quick dates. So if you want to look at just today, yesterday, this week, this month, so on. But I like to keep this set to all time unless I'm looking for a specific date range, because a lot of times what happens, I used to work on support and I'd get a lot of calls that were, you know, hey, I created 50 to 100 leads yesterday. Now I can't see them. 9 times out of 10, it's not because your leads have disappeared. It's simply because this quick date is set to today. So you're not going to see any leads from yesterday or a week ago, because it's set to today, to look at, what has been created today. So I like to set that to all time, but definitely user's choice. Yeah.
And one thing I was going to say, that's a great call out. As she mentioned, when she was on support, this is a call that they get quite often where people think their leads have disappeared or they can't see stuff they did from like a few days ago. Best practice, guys, make sure it is set to all time, like Jovi mentioned, unless you do want to look at like a specific date range. This is really, really important, only because during the onboarding and implementation process that we go through, this is a question that we get literally every single time. That's why I wanted to include it on today's webinar as part of the fundamentals section, because this is something that you guys should be aware of, what it does, how it works, and best practices. Continue.
Yeah, thank you. So then we have lead statuses. So if you're wanting to see, maybe you just want to see just your go backs or just your appointments, I'm going to deselect all the lead statuses here and just focus on my go backs and appointments. So select just those 2 types of leads. And then now when you go to an area where you have created leads, that's all you're going to see. So just remember to go back to your filters, set to select all, and then your other leads will appear. So that's your own leads filter. Shared leads, we're going to go over that. So basically pretty much the same filtering options as your own leads, with the exception of this owner option. So over here on the right, it says 14 users are selected. I'm going to tap on that. And here you can choose whose leads you want to see. So if you're an admin, if you're a manager, this is really useful if you're wanting to see specific reps as leads, or, as a rep, maybe you're working with a specific team that day. And I just want to see Hermione, Luna, Pancake, whoever that is, and Sirius.
That's my favorite Harry Potter character.
Who is
you don't
that?
know, they don't, that's not real.
Oh.
I mean, Harry Potter's real, but Pancake's not a real person.
It's like, it's not. Oh, wait, I think that's someone's pet. Okay.
Probably.
I think it is.
If
Okay.
Andy was here, he'd be able to tell us, but
No, I'm like 99% sure it is. Okay. So Pancake, let's see pancakes. So we'll click done. And then this one as well, I would keep that quick date set to all time. Because, same thing. If you're trying to look at leads from 2 days ago, a day ago, whatever, what other time frame, if it's set to today, you're only going to see what's created today. So same thing, keep it to all time. Make your life easier. And then DataGrid, Russ covered that. Do we want to go over customer?
No, I'd say the other 3 you guys typically won't see as a rep
Yeah.
on your end. Only if permission's allowed to. But again, if you guys want some more information about what those are, reach out to your admin or the support team, and they can obviously help you guys out and answer those questions.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's see. Let's check it and see if we have any questions.
So I haven't seen anything come through quite yet. And I think the last thing that we want to go ahead and cover for you guys, I know that we are quickly, I looked at my blank
Oh, yeah.
on my wrist. The last thing we want to cover is just statuses and like how to update them, what it's going to look like for you guys. And Jovi will kind of show you that right now as well.
Okay, so we're wanting to update. Sorry, remind me.
No, you're good. We just want to show you guys how to update a lead status and what it's going to look like. And then if you
Okay.
need like a legend of what all of your lead statuses means, because you can only see abbreviations typically, we want to show you guys where to find that legend as well.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that. All right, so here we have Danny, and it's not interested right now, but maybe you talk to Danny, and now it's a callback.
We
I'm gonna
got them.
change that over to callback, and then Time goes by, it's a go back. And then that changes over to an appointment. So you've had those interactions, you've changed and made that progress all the way up to appointment. So now when we go to see activity, you can see that history of that lead. So when it was created, date and time, what it was updated to, all the updates. And so that's a quick way. If you click on that lead, I think this is the one. No, maybe it's this one. This one. Yep, Danny. So if we go to see activity, that's just a quick way to get there. But you can click on, you can also tap on this pencil icon here, and it's going to take you to the info page, but then you can toggle that over to the activity page. So bam, that's it.
Yeah, it's a great call out. And the only reason I wanted to put this in today's webinar is because we've had a lot of reps calling in lately saying, hey, I have like 5 or 6 different pins on top of a home and they're all the same person. You can update leads. It's super duper simple, very quick. And it also, as Jolie has mentioned, keeps kind of like a history of what interactions was had with that individual. So please update leads and try not to create multiple pins on top of one home. You can, but again, it's best practice to update the same lead so you guys don't see, a billion leads on one home.
One thing I will add to this, so let's say this go back here. So let's say you did go back, but then you need another go back. So you're not going to create another lead as a go back for the same contact. You're just going to tap on go back again, and it's going to mark that history for you. So it's going to, if we go to see activity now, you're going to see that on the 7th at 9:36 a.m. was my go back. And then I went back one more time at 10:57 a.m. So you don't have to create another lead. This was a change that was made last year again, where you can, you don't have to create lead statuses multiple that maybe you have not home 1, not home 2, not home 3. You can just tap on that not home or that go back, and it's going to still keep track of how many times did you go back or how many not homes were recorded.
That's going to make your lives a heck of a lot easier. And like she mentioned, it came out last year, highly requested, and it's now finally here for you guys. So please, if you need to update a pin to even the same lead status, just click that same lead status and it still keeps track of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, last thing that we'll go ahead and cover here, I'll just make it really quick for you guys. If you guys want to see a legend of all of those different lead statuses that you have, when you select a lead here, and then you click this pencil icon here at the top, and you scroll on down, again, we can only see abbreviations of each individual lead status, but let's just say that you work for a roofing company and you guys have like 15 to 25 different statuses and you have no idea what they are. On the left-hand side where it says status, on the lead info page here, if I click there, it just shows you guys a legend of what each individual breakdown of that status is and what it should be. So again, if you guys ever want to use this, please go ahead and do so. This was also a highly requested feature a while ago, which we implemented last year, but it's always great to call it out in case you guys forgot that it exists, but quick and easy way for you guys to see some stuff.
Awesome.
But other than that, guys,
pretty much.
Yeah, I think we're done. As I say, we're out of time as well. And so we appreciate you guys hopping in here. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you guys did sign up for this webinar, you're going to get a recording or I guess a follow-up email once that recording is made available to us. So you guys can watch this again if you want. Information about the support team will also be included on that in case you guys want to reach out to talk about any of these features. And I think Joby has what's listed for what's going to be happening next webinar next month.
Yes. So next webinar, we're going to be going over SalesRabbit data, level up your canvassing. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, guys. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys joining. And I think we had one more question hop in here if we can get to that. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Tiffany was just saying awesome, thanks, and great webinar. So we appreciate that. And again, if you guys have any questions, let us know.
Yeah.
Reach out to support. Thanks so much.